Yeah, we see somebody's pulled out here, and that's Clint Boyer in the 2. He saw this draft coming. I'm sure his spotter told him, hey, these guys, this outside line's coming. This is your chance to get up there and be that first guy on the outside to try to take the lead.
Courageous move by Clint Boyer. He got up in front of the 60 car of Edwards and Casey Kane and Montoya, and now those guys beginning to reel them in. And a moment ago, we saw the differential in speed, and the high line was about 1.5 miles an hour or 2 miles an hour faster than the inside line.
Yeah, we've been seeing that on the backstretch, especially when these guys on the outside lane kind of run. It's almost like they're running in a little bit of a vacuum. When the inside line pulls down and they open up that outside line, it's almost like they're running in a little bit of a vacuum.
Yeah, the problem that they're going to have on the outside line, and these guys that are back 3 or 4 cars deep are going to not be quite as patient. They're going to want to try to either go to the middle or even make a third lane on the outside of there. And so then that's going to slow them down because they don't have that push. You can see right now the 2 car has nobody helping him whatsoever. His best bet probably would be to dive down in there, but he's lost that now as Ward Burton takes that spot away from him.
Yeah, they can't seem to get organized in that outside lane like they were earlier.
Whoa, contact. Stephen Wallace gets sideways. He is tapped from behind. And this is the one no one wanted, the big one late, and Stephen Light has nowhere to go head on into the 41 car. There's the 90 car of Stephen Light, who's having such a great run as the 41 car of Reed Sorensen got spun around. And looks like the 66 car of Stephen Wallace might have gotten a little tap. His car abruptly turned sideways, and boy, that Stephen Wallace cannot catch a break either. They have had miserable luck the last 3 or 4 events. And here's our in-race reporter in the Aaron's Dream Machine, and there's the Dodge of Stephen Wallace. Says heavy damage on the front and rear. Reed Sorensen's Dodge for Chip Ganassi Racing.
A lot of good race cars torn up in this wreck.
From the Goodyear blimp, watch the 66 car.
Look in. He's up against the car right in front of him, who was Casey Kane, but he's still getting that push from behind because Reed Sorensen can't see that he's totally against that car. And that's where, it just gets down to the end of this race, and we start, I say we do it in the Cup race too, you start running into each other and trying to help them get to the front as fast as you can.
Yeah, we heard Greg Biffle talking about it, that if you can't see through these race cars, so you can't tell what the guy in front of you is dealing with, and they just start stacking up. Can't really put the blame on one person here. It's just all kind of shared back through there.
Yeah, I'm sure Stephen, he's probably got a foot on the brake because he's right against the 9 car, but he's getting hit hard from behind, and then he just shoots him right out of the pack. We've been fortunate all day that we haven't really had very many cars involved in these accidents at a time, but we got down to the end when it was time to try to win, and people like Stephen Light, unfortunately, that weren't even a part of the beginning of this get involved.
Well, at least a half a dozen cars damaged in this big one here with less than 10 laps to go. As you're right on board with Stephen Light in his City Financial Ford, let's watch what he saw just a moment ago off of turn 2.
This is why I'm hot. 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 I'm hot 'cause I'm
Talladega, you think you're going to escape the big one, but you seldom do. 8 laps to go. In the 66 car, Stephen Wallace. And a beautiful view of the entire incident. As you look down, he'll get out of control, and you can watch as the demolition derby unfolds. But note the 10 cars that escaped the damage. Watch as the cars get out of the way. Juan Pablo slips through. And we have got 10 cars that are going to be in a dogfight coming down to the end. And our top 5, Casey Mears. Can he hang on now? The race has been red flagged. And there you see they bring him to the stop. Turn him loose. Green, white, and then, of course, we'll have the checker. So they never end a NASCAR race under caution. Now there's Mears. And note Kevin Harvick. He has been a constant winner through the years in the Busch Series. Right there, David Reagan, Kyle Krisloff, Ward Burton, Butt, Boyer, Stewart, Labonte, Edwards, Montoya, all ready to stalk if they can get organized. And, Dave, you've got a story on Juan Pablo.
Yeah, and Brent, after that last caution, when he had to pit for flat spotting his tires, he restarted in the 24th position. Has worked his way all up to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10th position. Right in front of him, Carl Edwards, who he's been racing with throughout the day. He wanted Carl and his spotter to know how they might race to the front near the end. Here's what he said.
He should tell the 60. Stay to the 60. I know he left me draw about 4 times today, but I'm still going to push the hell out of him.
Okay, Carl left me dry earlier, but I'm still really going to push. Now, one thing that Carl's people radioed back and gave back to Montoya's folks was, my bumper's a little bit askew. You need to hit me square if you're going to push me, or you'll spin me out. So a lot of communication going on with a couple of guys trying to get back to the front. Jamie?
Well, one of the Busch Series regulars talking here, his owner here, Robert Yates, watching what happens. Stephen, another tough break for you guys. I talked to you before this race. You said it's definitely not performance. It's just bad luck. What happened there?
It looked like somebody got into somebody, and when I looked up, I saw the 59 car spinning around, and I slowed up and tried to go left or right of them, and I couldn't. I had cars on both sides of me and ended up having to run into them. And I thought it was okay, but then something locked up on the left front, and I hit somebody else because I couldn't see. There was oil over my shield, and then I hit the inside wall, and just bad luck for this team. This City Financial team has worked their butts off all the end of last year, off season this year, and we've had some good runs going like today. Been in the front, or been in the top 10, and just can't put it all together. Something like that happens every time.
We can see how hard the drivers are working, guys. Beads of sweat rolling down. Mike.
It was a promising day for Steve Wallace, but just not meant to be. Steve, what'd you see?
I don't know. I was just driving right along. I was running about 7th. We were 3 wide. I was in the middle and just got hit from behind, got turned around, and then just all hell broke loose. The whole field wrecked behind me. I don't know what happened. Just driving right along there.
We could start to see the intensity level picking up here a little bit. Could you sense that this might happen?
Oh, yeah. For 100%. The Home Life Communities Dodge was really good today. It's just a big shame it happened. But whenever you go to a 10-lap shootout here at these restrictor plate racetracks, it's just crazy. I felt like our Home Life Communities Dodge was fast. Like we led laps, ran top 5 all day long, and just got back there. Just what can you do? It's frustrating, but we had a really good car today, and we'll come back next week and try and get them then.
And Brent, you could see the frustration on Stephen Wallace just before the interview. He kicked his race car. Brent?
Yeah, exactly. As we prepare now for a dramatic finish, red flag is out. The final cool down being offered to the drivers. Many of them rejecting it. Tony Stewart, give me a sip, baby. And he'll set sail. They'll all be trying to catch Casey Mears. The drama is about to unfold at Talladega. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Well, the 19-year-old Stephen Wallace has had his troubles the last 3 weeks, and most of which has not been his own doing. This was at Nashville, Tennessee, involved in an early incident. David Reagan not happy with him, but Steve able to go on and motor and get his first top 15 of the year. And then at Texas Motor Speedway, Brent Sherman and Stephen Wallace come together, and Wallace did apologize and say it was his fault, but Brent Sherman is none the happier for that incident there. And then at Phoenix International Raceway, last week on a Friday night, contact with Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya able to steer around the Home Life Communities Dodge, but Stephen had a tough one. He's having a good run today, and not of his own doing. He gets tapped from behind, pushed, and suddenly the big one breaks loose on the backstretch. Heavy, heavy damage to the Rusty Wallace Incorporated Dodge as they will head back down and try to get that car repaired for the final few laps.